Welcome to this talk, and I'm delighted to have Mr. John Watt with us for an update on his vaccine injury. John, thank you for driving down to Scotland.
No problem.
Now, John's given us a few pictures and permission to share them. This was John just before the vaccine. Picture he just happened to take, ordinary, healthy-looking bloke. You can tell his face looks healthy on that picture. But then just after his third vaccine, which was a Pfizer, well, slightly different look altogether, even with the dark glasses he has to wear to protect himself against the light that he now finds so irritating. I think this one's coming out of hospital. Again, still looking pretty forlorn there, I must say. Recovering at home, but of course still complaining of cardiac symptoms these years later. Fortunately being well looked after, but still not anything like returning to work levels of fitness. And had a great deal of suffering and disability as a result of the vaccines. Just remind him what it was like before.
Hi, Rishi Sunak. I've got so much to say, but such little time. My name is John Watt, and I'm one of the COVID vaccine injured in this country. I want you to look into my eyes, Rishi Sunak, and I want you to look at the pain, the trauma, and the regret I have in my eyes. We have been left with no help at all. Not only am I in here that's vaccine injured, there's another man over there whose life's been ruined by that COVID-19 vaccine. I know people who have lost legs, amputations. I know people with heart conditions like myself, Rishi Sunak. Why have I had to set up a support group in Scotland to look after the people that have been affected by that COVID-19 vaccine? Why are the people who are in charge, who told us all to do the right thing, have left us all to rot and left me and the thousands and the tens of thousands in this country to rot? Rishi Sunak, look me in the eye. When are you going to start to do the right thing? The vaccine damage payment scheme is not fit for purpose. In Scotland right now, according to the yellow card system, there are over 30,000 people that have had an adverse reaction to that vaccine and 200 deaths.
John, thank you very much indeed for your question.
It's time for you to start doing the right thing, Mr. Rishi Sunak and the rest.
You've made a really strong point, John. Prime Minister.
Yeah, John, well, I'm very sorry to hear about your personal circumstances, and you said someone over here also seems to have suffered by a similar thing. Now, obviously, I don't know about the individual situation that you're in.
We're silenced.
Well,
on social media and everything. Okay. We are silenced. We are the most silenced people in this country.
Silence in the press because my story in the press had to go to the government for comment, and they made them take all the stuff out.
Forgive me both.
I know, I'm happy. No one.
Okay.
John, no one is saying.
Yeah. Okay.
I've lost my house, my wife, and a successful career.
And sir, you raised some very valid points, I'm sure. What I've got to say is, though, we haven't got you on microphone, and as you know, we've got to get through this. I'm sure we can raise your points with the Prime Minister at a later date. But in the meantime, Prime Minister, if you cover the issue.
I'm very happy to. So there is a vaccine compensation scheme that's in place, as you alluded to, in the NHS. Obviously, everyone individually will work through their cases. It's difficult for me to comment on anyone's individual case. I'm sure you'll appreciate that. I'm very happy to go and look at the cases, and I'm sure you'll get them to the team here. I mean, I'm very saddened and shocked to hear that you've been silenced by anybody. That is surprising to me, so please do get your details to Stephen and the team, and I will happily take that away. Of course, you should be able to speak about your experience, what's happened to you, and as I said, we have a compensation scheme in place for that, and I'll make sure that we're working through that. Obviously, I think you'll appreciate it's hard for me to comment on your specific circumstances, just not knowing them, and those things are...
Forgive me, sir, we haven't got a microphone like this, so our viewers and listeners won't be able to...
I think the last thing I'd say is, we went through a pandemic, like everyone else. At the points when it came to the vaccine, those decisions were always taken on the basis of medical advice from our medical experts to tell us, as politicians, who are obviously not doctors, about how best to roll out the vaccine, what was in the public health interest, the priority order, how that should be done, who should be eligible. That was something that the doctors recommended on, and that's something that we followed. Now, obviously, if there are individual circumstances which haven't worked out, then that's why we have the compensation scheme in place, and I'll make sure that we follow up on your cases.
OK, Prime Minister, thank you. Gents, both of you, do give us your details. We will get that to the Prime Minister, and as he said, he will, I'm sure, look at that for you.
Now, I know you like to wear dark glasses sometime because you still have a visual sensitivity, so do feel free to.
Yeah. No, well, I've got a good excuse to do it. At least it's nice weather, so I don't usually, only wear them, obviously because of light sensitivity, but I'm trying my best to not use them as much because, I think having natural light to the eyes is a lot better than covering them up all the time. But I do struggle, still with the light sensitivity,
Indeed. Just remind us, you're the guy that had a conversation with the Prime Minister, aren't you?
Yeah, I was the one. I was the one, about, we're talking, nearly 2 months ago now?
How long?
2 months,
Right.
February 12th, I believe it was, when I went on to GB News with Rishi Sunak. An update regarding that, still not really any correspondence, if you want to call it, with Rishi Sunak. Neil Hanvey MP and his team are very good with me. There was an email just recently. Myself and Alex Mitchell were on GB News last week regarding obviously AstraZeneca coming out.
Alex was the other guy with a vaccine injury.
Yeah, Alex is the man that had his leg amputated. So after that interview the next day, Craig, who's Neil Hanvey's right-hand man, they sent an email saying that they hadn't received Mr. Watt's details. I find that hard to believe because GB News contacted me after that event, a week later after the Rishi Sunak incident, and they asked if they could pass the details on to Rishi Sunak. So we're still here, still waiting, still asking for help. But right now as it currently stands, there's been no interaction with Rishi Sunak and his team. And they spoke about it in Parliament as well. Christopher Chope stood up in front of a busy, it was a really busy meeting they had, and it was a full house, and Christopher Chope stood up and said, will you be speaking to John Watt? And he said that him and his team would. But again, we're 2 months down the line, John, and there's still no word from Rishi Sunak.
But you asked the Prime Minister a question, when was he going to address the real problem of people such as yourself?
Yes.
Whose lives, well, in your case, transformed, ruined by vaccine injury.
Yeah, a lot of people see me and they think I'm okay, but you can't really plan anything, John. Like 3-4 days ago, or yesterday, really bad day, heart issues in the night. You feel like you're on borrowed time. That's the honest answer. We feel like we're on borrowed time at this point. I'm still very up and down, but with the little energy I have, I try and put into obviously raising awareness on this very important topic. I keep saying it, John, it's not just me. We've got a global issue here.
So you had two, remind me, you had two AstraZenecas, then the
two
Pfizer
AstraZeneca
vaccine.
And then the Pfizer.
But it was after the Pfizer that you got the severe symptoms.
Yeah, after the Pfizer, it was pretty much the next day. And I'll give you pictures and you can maybe put it up to show a timeline, There's a picture of me then, I think it was the next day I didn't feel too good. And like I said in your last video, then eventually I felt like fatigue and very heavy, and as time went on, I ended up in hospital, constantly in and out. And this is a common theme when it comes to the injured. Again, not just in Scotland, in the UK, it's around the world. I don't know why people won't put pen to paper. Last night, I was actually on the phone. There's a young guy who's in Scotland right now, and he's having real issues with his doctors in hospitals, and I won't name the hospital, I would love to, but in Scotland, a certain hospital, and the boy collapsed. He's had a heart attack 3-4 weeks ago, and he's going in, and he's having all these issues, and the doctors are saying, there's nothing wrong with you. Now, one of the doctors turned round to him, and he was saying this happened to him after his AstraZeneca, and the doctor says, oh, you're one of them, you're a conspiracy theorist.
So a few years ago, it was not understandable, but not acceptable, but more understandable that doctors hadn't seen this before.
Well,
And people were saying it's all in your head, but for that still to be happening now really is quite ignorant, isn't it?
am I not right in saying, because I've got a family member that's a dentist, so under, I think it's a GDC, the dentistry use.
I don't know.
So in dentistry, you need to go on courses and you need to keep up to date with things moving forward. Do doctors not do that?
Yes, of course they do.
So why are they not up to date in regards to acknowledging vaccine harms can happen? Why are they not up to date with certain... How the first challenge that all vaccine injured have, John, is just getting that, yes, we believe you, and yes, this does happen. As soon as you've got that, that's when the door's open to go, right, now I can possibly get answers. The first hurdle is to get a doctor to just acknowledge that it's real. And that's just so... And I want to just say, from the last conversation me and you had, John, I'm going to give you credit where credit's due, as always. For the video that me and you done last time, so many messages. This happened to me, this makes sense, timeline. A lot of people came out and I had a lot of messages regarding it. Don't get me wrong, I couldn't answer every message. So if everybody did message me, I'm sorry that I just didn't have enough time in the day. You know, all I can do is guide them into certain groups like UKCV Family or Scottish VIG, Scottish Vaccine Injury Group in Scotland, and we're trying to work together to try and get help, you know, in the UK inquiry and the Scottish inquiry, and we try and guide them into doctors that are actually got the correct protocols in place. But first of all, we need to get the NHS to be doing this, because it's all money that people don't have, John.
So what doctors, nurses, anyone needs to do is they need to listen to what you're saying, accept what you're saying is true, and that's what we call a patient history. This is absolutely fundamental to medicine, that you take a patient history, tie that together with the relevant tests, and that's how you make a full assessment. And you can assess, plan, implement, and evaluate your strategies. And if you're not believing the patient, then you're kind of falling on the first hurdle, really. Tell us what you were feeling. You mentioned you had some cardiac issues a couple of nights ago. What last night? What were you feeling?
It's a strange one. So at night time, I get these. It's like the heart flutters. So it feels very unstable, and it's like I can't catch my breath, and it kind of comes up here. I don't know if you know anything, and it flutters. But 5 years ago, John, this wouldn't be normal. Do you know? I need to sit there in my bed now and go, let it just pass. That's not how... That shows how broken the system is at this point. If I'm having heart issues, I should be going into hospital saying, I've got heart issues. The standard tests are not working anymore. So whether it's going in and ECG and blood tests, you know, troponin levels, elevated troponin levels, in my opinion, is not normal. Would that be correct?
That's absolutely correct, of course.
So every time I go in and get my bloods checked, I've always got elevated troponins. Now, they always say to me, that's very small. But over time, that's going to be, you know...
It's an English summer, we've got bees.
You know, over time, me having an elevated troponin level...
It's not normal, and it should be... Anything abnormal should be explained.
Yeah, so the doctors now say, that just must be normal for you. And I say, well, if I'm sitting down, I'd understand if I was running, but I'm on a bed and I'm lying down, so elevated troponin levels are not normal. Things need to be, they really need to get up to date with what's happening, how this is happening, because I can tell you right now, so many of us that are injured, we don't want to go into hospital because we know we're going to be laying in a bed for 8 hours to get told health anxiety. Or some people get fobbed off as this thing called FND. Now, I agree that FND probably existed beforehand.
It's functional neurological disorder.
But what they tell people is they've got, so for example, now I've got that light sensitivity and I've got this like dizziness on standing, so I feel like I'm on a boat, and I've got this kind of disassociation where I feel like I'm here but I'm not here, if that makes sense. And
it's like a derealisation, like almost like you're watching yourself on a video.
My understanding is it's like the brain's trauma kind of mechanism to protect you. So it feels like I'm not here. It's like I'm in this constant fight or flight mode. But of course I'm going to be in that mode, John, especially when my heart feels unstable, I'm dizzy, I know for a fact if you check you done pressure check on me last time. The blood pressure was a bit high. Why? My blood pressure is constantly high. So, but again, I believe, again, it's that's to do with the endothelium lining. It may be damaged. I don't know, I'm not a doctor.
It's one mechanism of high blood pressure, yes.
So that could be the reason for having high blood pressure. But again, John, I don't want to go into hospital. I just let these things pass, and it's constant. And again, the reason I speak out, I said it to you last time, I know there are so many people out there that are getting the same treatment I did 2.5 years ago. Health anxiety, feel helpless, feel like they've got a losing battle with a doctor. All I'm saying to doctors is, look, the information's coming out. More and more information's coming out at this point. For you to sit back and not actually say something. I said it to you before, John. Surely as a doctor you want to have a reputation as a good doctor. And to have a good reputation, you need people to come out with confidence and say, he's a fantastic doctor. But what they're getting just now is they're getting this, they're useless. That's not what you became a doctor for. You became a doctor to help people and give them confidence in their doctors.
There are some exceptional doctors who are taking this seriously, but
yes,
the problem is that the majority, the message has not gotten through yet. That seems to be the problem to me.
It's like I said, this young guy the other day, his GP agreed with him. They sent him up to hospital. He had a blood clot in his leg and then his other leg, and I'm like, go and get a D-dimer test. They don't even want to do a simple D-dimer test, which I understood back in the day, D-dimer was a pretty standard thing.
D-dimer is a pretty standard test to look for the presence of blood clot in the vessels.
And that's all they have to do for this young kid, to say, right, okay. And then as anticoagulants, is that what it's called, to put him on a whole load of blood thinners?
Potentially, yeah. John, when was your last injection? You had 2 AstraZenecas and the Pfizer. When was that?
November 2021.
Right, so we're now
coming up to 3 years.
Coming up to 3 years, well over 2.5 years, and you've still got these symptoms.
Yeah, still very not. People might see me doing stuff.
Not back at work.
No, I was used to be a carpenter joiner, John. I'll never be able to be a joiner again.
Well, we hope you will, but at the moment, it's out of the question at the moment.
It's very, very up and down, the health. It's very, it's a battle every day. It's kind of like wake up. The mornings are the worst. As the day goes on, 3-4 o'clock, my symptoms tend to kind of calm down. Again, I don't want to say too much. Is it mitochondrial function, I believe, calms down as the night comes in?
There's a lot of plausible possible mechanisms here.
Yeah.
Mitochondrial dysfunction is one of them, and you'll know that the mitochondria are these small powerhouses in the cell, and if they're not working properly, all the cells in the body are potentially not producing energy as they should, and that could give rise to a lot of features. It does slightly concern me that they call this a functional disorder, because functional to me, it kind of means we don't really know what it is. So organic would be, well, here's the organ on the bench, here's the bit that doesn't look right. There's a biological, pathological cause. Functional means that something's going wrong, but we can't quite identify it. So it's a bit vaguer than I would like. If something's functional, we need to look hard to find out what the organic causes of that potentially could be. And of course, we need research for that. That means we need money. Who wants to put money into vaccine injuries? Because you're pointing out that vaccine injuries exist.
Yeah, it's like Neil Hanvey says, to sit there and say that these things don't happen. He says every agent, every vaccine, they always come with side effects.
Yeah.
But again, I'm going to, the other day, the mainstream media are now talking about all this because of AstraZeneca, which is fantastic. But again, it's kind of like 2-3 years to like you, John, at the beginning you said, then at least you made a U-turn that early on, and once you identify the problem, that's when we can start to move forward. What do you think about these people that just, do you not think, that, again, we go back to the Nuremberg Code, John, it was all put in place so that things like this wouldn't happen?
If we listened to the patients and collected the data honestly, a lot of these problems wouldn't happen, but maybe there's a deficit in that. John, have you had communication difficulties lately? Your Twitter thing seems to be reduced, because you did have about 50,000 followers, didn't you? Yeah,
about 4 weeks ago now, John, everything of mine get hacked.
What do you mean everything?
Everything you can imagine, everything that's
Give us
digital.
a list.
So I was doing my own podcast interviewing a guy, Anthony Fowler, who's a fantastic guy, does CBD and stuff. I was down there interviewing him. When I was down there, my phone started to ping, started to send me text messages from my bank, from Uber, from Twitter, X, everything that was saying your authentication code. Now at first I wasn't really that concerned because I thought someone's trying to hack in. It's not really that big a deal. Now, when it got a bit scary was the next day when I got a message from my bank saying X amount of pounds had been hundreds, nearly £1,000 had been spent out of my bank account, and it was a place in Australia and I had to phone up my bank, and at that point I said to him, I says, look, you're going to need to cancel my bank account. I've been hacked, and I had to go through everything with them. Then I was travelling back, and I didn't really think of anything else. I just started going with my bank. Got home, couldn't get into my Twitter account. Obviously, that's my main platform. That one, 50-odd thousand followers or whatever. And then it was like my Uber. It was just ridiculous. Everything you can imagine that's online, it got hacked. My Facebook, Instagram, PlayStation account. I can't even get into play a PlayStation, John, because it's all digital,
So this basically took away your ability to communicate your message to a wider audience?
Yeah, so over a period of time, I managed to... So I had someone, luckily, who works for cybersecurity, and it was probably one of the most stressful things because you're literally watching. I had no control. It was like being robbed, but you had no control over it. I don't want to sound, a bit out there, but is it a coincidence? I don't know, John. Do you know what I mean?
This was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's 3-4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago it happened. So
people sometimes get one account hacked, but to get everything hacked at the same time, it sounds like remarkably bad fortune.
When I got home, I actually went onto my emails, and I went into my emails and I went to the sent part of my emails. It turned out they managed to get into my emails, and they sent about 20 emails out with IDs and everything you can imagine on.
And do we know who this was?
Well, the person, whoever it was, they WhatsApped me. They managed to get my phone number, and they were WhatsApping me, and they were phoning me.
Personal phone number.
Yeah. And managed to recover a lot of things, not everything. There's a couple of accounts I've not managed to get, but even, again, coincidental, but I mean, even my laptop, that's a bit getting repaired just now because that's not been running correctly either. So anyone that does watch my podcast, that's the reason why I haven't done any more episodes, because I can't get in to fix it. But
have you got your bank account back now then?
Yeah, the bank account is back. Yeah, I've managed to...
And that's secured?
Well, I'd like to think so. I've managed to put everything, like I say, the person that helped me with security and stuff, but the one thing I can't get back, and this is where it's really frightening, I think, for the future, and Elon Musk, if you're listening... I'm sure he's listening. Well, I'd like to, I doubt it, but anyway, I find it really frustrating that, I've been back and forward with Twitter support. It's clear as day that I'm not talking to a human being. It's clear as day that I'm speaking to AI. They seem... They're all,
all these social media things are the same.
But this could have been sorted within a phone call, so it went back and forward with Twitter about 40, 50 times regarding...
But someone had hacked it, that was the original problem.
Yeah, so they hacked it, they managed to change the phone number, the email, they managed to do everything, they managed to change everything, so... Unfortunately, my Twitter account's now been hacked. So anyone that does listen, I've just used my name, John Watt, or the handle I think is bringthenoise_X. That's my new account. The annoying thing is I used to pay for the Twitter Blue, and the reason I paid for that is so that I could play, the podcast on there, and I could play longer videos and longer tweets. Now the question is, do I really want to go and pay for another Twitter Blue when I know that it can be taken away from me within an instant? And this is the thing as well, once I've phoned the bank to cancel it, and the bank have said, well, it's only going to be cancelled for 13 months.
Another strange coincidence, but I'm sure this sort of thing is very, let me think of a word here, very rare, John.
It's just, again, I don't want to go on down to
No, we don't know, but we
don't know, but
it's an unfortunate coincidence.
Yeah, I find it really strange that, it wasn't just one thing, it was everything.
Yeah,
even Uber accounts, that's when it got ridiculous, and I'm like,
almost as if someone with significant capability, who as an individual or as an organisation did this, but of course we can't.
Well, at the end of the day, John, I said it in the last podcast, they try and shut me down, I'll just bring the noise and keep going.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah.
That's the best way, but no, it's been pretty scary, to be honest.
What's happening? Got an event coming up. Tell just do a plug. Tell us about it.
Obviously, again, John, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. You're a very humble man, and you don't really. After the last video, so many people came out and were like, John, so your message gets out to a lot of people, John. So you've got to give yourself credit by using your channel to give people an answer to what's possibly going on with their health.
Well, I wish we had more answers, John, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just that, again, John, getting an understanding, why is my body doing this? So in regards to, so obviously there's an event on the 2nd of June, the Classic Grand in Glasgow. Myself and Alex Mitchell, who's my good friend, we'll be putting on this event. I do the podcast, Bring the Noise podcast, which I wear all the time. And, have people like yourself, Dr. Asim Malhotra, Dr. Tina Pearce, Neil Hanvey MP, Adam Rowland, who as well, will be on that stage. And so the event is obviously to try and raise money for the injured, so I can try and give back to the injured community, try and help. So, and just to point out that you're not taking a penny for this, nobody on the stage, so Asim's is doing this off his own back, yourself, Tina Pearce, Neil, these are all doing this off your own back, and I really appreciate you guys for coming along and doing this.
We are hoping to make some money for the vaccine injury.
Yeah, of course, the money will be going towards, like I said, John, I get a lot of questions over the tickets, which I understand at the beginning, but at the same time, to give people a bit of understanding. So, for example, John, for a consultation with a private doctor, you're talking £250 to £300 minimum. To get these people the correct protocols and supplements, you're talking £150. So that's nearly £450 just for one vaccine injured. So this money's not really going to go far, but at the same time, who knows, John, it might be successful, but I can promise you, I'll put on a very powerful, emotional, not just an event, but hopefully a show as well, to give people, a bit of fire in their belly, to make people realise that this subject cannot not go anywhere until things are, put correctly. We just need this to come out, and by walking away from it, we can't do that. There's been too many people harmed, John. So again, the 2nd of June, Classic Grand in Glasgow.
If you're in Glasgow, north of England, south of Scotland,
and I'll give you the link.
Come along.
I'll give you the link.
We'll put the link.
I'll give you the link, John, and hopefully you can get some people. And I'm asking anyone that's a doctor as well. I'm asking people, and the other question as well is, if anyone does question John or myself regarding this matter, there is a live Q&A at the second half. So we're going to give an opportunity to people to ask the questions to yourself.
People can ask the speakers anything they want.
Yeah, they can ask the speakers. Look, it's going to be no hold barred, John, as you know. But at the end of the day, this is an opportunity. Come along, listen to these doctors. Listen to Dr. Tina Pearce. She's seen massive issues with women in menopause, and obviously you with all your information and Asim. I'm getting tired of this word rare getting used, John. It is not that rare.
Rare is a word that is not rarely used. It's it's well used.
But so on the 2nd of June, John, I'll see you in Glasgow, and honestly,
we'll look forward to that. I'm expecting a hard time.
Well, I'll be there to protect you. So at the end of the day, John, like I say, and we'll have auctions, raffles,
it'd be good.
All the money on the night. I'll have my Bring the Noise merchandise.
And it's meet fellow sufferers, meet people.
Yeah. So there's obviously the VIP tickets have sold out. We've got a lot of we've still got some standing tickets left, and seated tickets. There's not that many left. Yeah. But again, every penny will be going towards help. People have donated in the past to GoFundMes. This is our way of giving back to these people, by putting on an event for them. And I'm praying that we have a sellout, and to let people know this is their way of giving back to the injured community and us giving back to you for supporting us, because we really appreciate everybody's support. Honestly, the level of support that myself, Alex and many others have had from the general public, it's absolutely incredible. But again, it shouldn't be up to us. It should be the professionals, the government, the pharmaceutical companies. These are the ones that should be doing this, not the injured.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. John, if not before, we'll see you on the 2nd of June.
See you on the 2nd of June, John.
Thank you for coming down and giving us this update.
No problem, thank you.